great welcome back to my channel, Young Tutor. And I hope so that you have watched the first and second part of this channel or of this whole topic, which is socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. Today, we shall start with the third part of this chapter of, and we had already covered this part, which was industrial society and societal change. Wala topic we had already covered yesterday. So I really look forward that you have already watched all of my previous videos. Now we yesterday we talked about industrialization. Then we talked about that if there is industrialization, if people are settling at one particular place, then definitely industrial revolution will also take place. We talked about how the barren places was started to getting converted into towns, and how those towns were not yet fully developed, and there were a lot of population and less of space and less of houses built. So there was a lot of unemployability at the time when the goods were not when there was no such as industrial profit or industrial goods का जो था, जब इतना स्कोप नहीं था, तब lot of unemployment were there. And because there were so many people, so many population, there was a lot of competition among the people to get selected, and all these things we discussed. We also discussed the creation of the slum areas, very important. Fine. Next, we shall move with this page, which is almost all industries were the property of individuals. Liberals property of individual means that some big personmen or businessmen or some merchants were responsible for these properties, or were having a hold of these properties. Liberals and radicals themselves were property owners and employers. As we already did that, liberals and radicals were already there, they were property owners. Liberals were the people who were not at all against the ideology of having private property, but whereas radicals were also not opposing the idea, but they did oppose the idea of a concentration of power among the hands of few people, and having all the property among few people of the society. That is what radicals opposed. We have already done this in the part 1 of our chapter. Then we did themselves were property owners and employers, having made their wealth through trade or industrial ventures. Very important point, that what were the sources of income for the liberals and radicals? It was through industrial ventures, or you can say through industrial trade. Okay, or through overseas trade also, many people say. They felt that such effort should be encouraged, that its benefit would be achieved if the workforce in the economy was healthy and citizens were educated. Now, there was an idea which was put forward by the liberals and radicals of the society, that it would be that if the people are healthy, if the people are educated, then definitely the economy would also rise. Now in economics, you have if you have done the chapter which is poverty as a challenge, we did that. Why is the government aiming towards education and healthcare facilities? Because if you are not healthy, if you're not healthy, you are sick, then you wouldn't be able to give your 100% into a work. And if you're not educated on that particular topic, then definitely you would not again be able to give your 100% or best of your efforts in that particular field. And you definitely need some sort of education, basic knowledge about what thing you are supposed to do. And definitely education is something what decides how much money you are going to receive, and if you are using it wisely, then only. Okay. Opposed to the privileges the old aristocracy had by birth, they firmly believed in the value of individual effort, labor, and enterprise. So, old aristocracy here we are depicting towards, you can say, conservatives. They had all these, they were opposing these all these privileges by birth, and they firmly believed that in the value of individual efforts, labors, and enterprise. इफ दे फर्मली बिलीव्ड कि एक इंसान को बाय बर्थ कोई कुछ भी नहीं चाहिए. सपोज बाय बर्थ नो वन शुड हैव एनीथिंग, और नो वन शुड हैव claimed anything. When the person grows, when the person matures, then over the period of time, what really matters is the skill, and what really matters is that in society where the person is standing on the basis of his work, on the basis of his effort, and on the basis of how he is contributing towards the society. This is what really matters at the end. Okay, if freedom of individuals was ensured, if the poor could labor and those within capital could operate without restraint, they believe that society would develop. Now, very important pointers. What did they believe? That if freedom of individual was secured, if poor could labor, ठीक है, second point, and those with capital could operate without restraint, मतलब कि जिनके पास capital, जिनके पास जो resources हैं वो अच्छे से काम कर पाएँ without any problems, then और अगर individuals के पास एक freedom insured है, उनके पास से कोई pressure नहीं है इस system का यानी society का, and if the poor could also labor, then definitely there would be a rise in the economic status of the country. Many working men and women who wanted changes in the world rallied around liberal and radical groups and parties in the early 19th century. Now, why were the men and the women who wanted changes in the rallied a question can be formed were, rallying against or around the liberals and radical groups because they wanted some sort of transformation in the society in terms of property. And as we had already done that, liberals and radicals were the propertied sections of the society, so they never understood the pain, or they never understood the importance of having done something by their own. Some nationalist liberals and radicals wanted revolutions to put an end to the kind of government established in Europe in 1815. The France, Italy, Germany, and Russia, they became revolutionaries and worked to overthrow existing monarchies. Very important examples: France, Italy, Germany, and Russia. Those were the, you can say, these were the main countries in Europe that was looking ahead in the transformation of the society, in the economic and the social status of the society, as well as they wanted a growth in their economic status, and they were also willing to overthrow the existing monarchs. Now, France, we have already seen as we were doing the French Revolution. This chapter is about Russia, you can remember like this. And in Germany also we saw how Hitler was, making up ideologies against the monarchy and how it would support him and the society. So definitely the people were against this also. And in Italy also, this such examples were seen. So these four examples are learnt by you by now, I hope so. Okay, nationalists talked of revolutionaries that would create nations where all the citizens would have equal rights. After 1850, Giuseppe Mazzini, an Italian nationalist, conspired with each other with others to achieve this in Italy. Nationalists elsewhere, including India, read his writings. Now, the main question which arises is that who are nationalists? Very important question that arises in our mind when we all are thinking about this one same question again and again, which is what are nationalists? Nationalists are the people who are working for the welfare of the country, or they want something which the whole nation is demanding. For example, if the people are demanding equal rights, a universal adult franchise, then the nationalists are the people who are actually fighting for them, for those rights against the society. Those are what nationalists are for. Okay, very important example to be learned of Giuseppe Mazzini, very important. And what was his nationality? He was an Italian nationalist. Okay, nationalist means that he wanted something what people of the country also wanted. He was in favor of his own people. Fine. Next, the coming of socialism to Europe. This is another phase where we are specifically talking about Europe. Sorry, in Europe we are talking about Russia. Right now we were talking about the whole of Europe, whereas in we discussed about Germany, we discussed about Italy, we discussed about France, and we discussed about Russia. But now our main focus would be on the socialism of Europe, and this part would be in my next lecture. So stay tuned and watch these videos carefully to score full in your exams. Thank you.